the death penalty, what do you think of? Death, someone who has committed a serious crime, justice, but what about discrimination, unfairness, and the fact that we as people are killing someone even if they haven't committed a serious crime? What about how it can lead to certain races being sentenced more than others? Throughout this entire assignment, I've done plenty of research and stuff, and I've learned a lot of things about race and the death penalty. The book, The Death Penalty in America, 3rd edition, edited by Hugo Adam Bedau, states, there have been an estimated 18,000 to 20,000 persons lawfully put to death. This shows that a significant amount of people are being put to death, and more of them were of different races, culture, and ethnicities, and more. For many years, the death penalty has treated people unfairly of different races, cultures, and ethnicity. To help gain more knowledge of the people being wrongfully treated, I will be telling you statistics, racial discrimination, and the 2 cases of victims that have actually been innocent and wrongfully executed. According to the website Census.gov, in 2022, the U.S. population was 333,287,557. Of that, 75.5% were white and 13.6% were black, and the rest was all the other races and people. According to the website ACLU, in their document called Race and the Death Penalty, they state, the color of a defendant and victim's skin plays a crucial and unaccountable role in deciding who receives the death penalty in America. The website adds that people of color have accounted for a disproportionate 43% of total executions since 1976 and 55% of those currently awaiting execution. They also give us the info that certain authorities have higher rates of multicultural people who have been condemned to death, the death penalty, including U.S. military, Colorado, U.S. government, Louisiana, and Pennsylvania. With the info, it can be seen that for some reason a large number of people who are of different cultures, races, etc. are being treated and sentenced unreasonably. On the website Death Penalty Information Center, they have a page called Death Row Racial Demographics. On this page, you will find 2 tables and a pie graph as shown in the visual on the computer. The first chart tells us the current death row population race, and it shows that black people are around 961, white is 978, Latinx is 325, and other is 67. This info is important because even though it shows that there are more white people on death row, it's only a 1% difference between them and black people. The pie graph is just showing these numbers in a visual, and the last table is talking about each state's numbers of people on death row. One state is California, which has a total of 665 people on death row, with 232 being black, 220 white, and the rest are the other races. Another state is Texas, where they have 192 people, with 88 being black, 50 white, and the rest are the other races. These are important because it shows that even though there are still a lot of white people being sentenced, there are a lot of black and other colored and other races being sentenced to the death penalty as well. Another thing to remember is that even though we might not think it, it's human nature to judge someone based off of something once in a while or every once in a while. And so when that happens, we're still sentencing people. We can still sentence people to the death penalty based off of their race, even if we're not thinking that we are. So now I'll be talking about racial discrimination. Racial discrimination has been happening for a very long time, even before slavery. The website Human Rights Watch says racial discrimination is a serious human rights problem in the U.S. that intersects with all of the U.S. domestic issues covered by Human Rights Watch, from over-incarceration of black and Latinx people fueled by the disproportionately harsh sentences meted out for all categories of crime. Many people have different opinions on racial discrimination, and the website NACDL quotes Supreme Court Justice Harry Blackmun, who says, even under the most sophisticated death penalty status, race continues to play a major role in determining who shall live and who shall die. Another thing that the website has is that in 1994, the Violent Crime Control and Lawful Enforcement Act was passed, and this added 60 new ways that a person could be sentenced to the death penalty. And within 5 years of that act being put in place, 74% of the people who were sentenced to the death penalty were of color. It also states that there have been many studies about the death penalty, and one of these studies was done in Washington State, and they found that black defendants are more than 4 times more likely to be sentenced to death than similarly stated non-black defendants. Now that we've gone over this, I will be telling you 2 cases of people who were wrongfully sentenced who were actually innocent. One case of a person being sentenced was shown on the website The Innocent Project, which gives us the info on the case of Carlos de Luna. Carlos de Luna, a Latino man's case, now has evidence that he was innocent. They state in 1989, Carlos de Luna was executed for the murder of a gas station employee, yet evidence uncovered by a Columbia law professor and his team pointed to another suspect. Throughout the trial, de Luna said he was innocent and that his partner was the one to do it, but the police and other people didn't believe him and said he was just making up a phantom man. Even though he claimed that the prosecutors didn't conduct any search to see if the person de Luna said was actually real. In the end, he was convicted and executed in 1989, and many years later it was found that the person that he was saying actually did it existed, and that the police and prosecutors knew about it because he was well known with them. Another case was of Ruben Montoya Cantu, who was Hispanic. He was convicted in armed robbery and murder. The website The New York Times wrote, the witness Juan Moreno told the Chronicle said it was not Mr. Cantu who shot him. Mr. Moreno said he identified Mr. Cantu as the killer at his 1985 trial because he felt pressured and was afraid of the authorities. The website also states that Miriam Ward said, with a little extra work, a little extra effort, maybe we'd have gotten the right information. And the bottom line is, an innocent man was put to death for it. We all have that on our fingers. This was only 2 cases of people being wrongfully sentenced. Now, in summary, there are many people of color, race, ethnicity that have been wrongfully accused and sentenced to death. Regardless of what people have to say, there are statistics, racial discrimination, and cases that actually show that people of color, race, and ethnicity have been wrongfully accused and sentenced to death. Helping people of different color, race, ethnicity can be hard, but if a lot of people come together, then we can definitely make this happen. One way we can do this is that there have been a bunch of websites that have been set up that you can help people of color and race and get a fair trial. Thank you for listening to my speech, and I hope you enjoyed.